Today, I want to bring out a motivational video. I added the topic about confidence because you are now climbing a higher mountain. You will keep learning more and more characters while you still need to remember the old ones. And this could go further than just learning Chinese. It's about learning anything with confidence. I made this video hoping I could give you more strength and trust in yourself.
Today, I want to talk about the topic confidence, because I think confidence is extremely important in learning Chinese and actually in learning anything. And now we've reached a point that we're now having people joining this channel, and some of them have learned some Chinese before, and some of them are real beginners. And today I want to focus mainly on those who are real beginners. How can you feel confident if somebody asks a question that you have never heard of before? How can you still keep motivating yourself, although you feel a little less now? So I'm going to share some personal stories of myself, how I started in a lot of areas as a late beginner, and my secret, how I overcame this and became much better at what I was doing. And I actually really made it work that I was good at learning anything, although I started every time late. Hi, this is Chi from Deepling, a channel that makes Chinese easy. This is a place where I try my best to make Chinese as easy as possible for everyone who wants to learn Chinese. And this channel serves mainly for those who are real Chinese beginners. So if you belong to one of them, subscribe and follow me. So let me make it very clear. This channel is your starting point. Maybe you've learned some Chinese somewhere else before, but I do not presume that. I presume you have no idea how Chinese works, and I will start from here. And I sincerely hope you treat Chinese that way too.
That's why I avoid using terms that you would only know if you have learned Chinese for a while. That's also why I only use simple words such as tones to make sure everyone understands what I mean by that. I even use the word running machine in one of my videos instead of treadmill because everyone understands what a running machine is, but not everyone knows what a treadmill is, especially those who aren't English native speakers.
So if you belong to those who are looking for a program that do not require any prior knowledge and with which you can learn by yourself, this is the right place to learn Chinese. But since this is a place that does not require any prior knowledge, I'm asking you for one favor. Please treat here as if this was your first time to learn Chinese. Pretend you've never learned Chinese before.
When talking about confidence, there's no way we can go around the word insecure. If you have never learned Chinese before and are just following my lessons, it can happen that someone asks about characters you haven't learned, or they ask about tones, which I don't teach. At these kinds of moments, you may feel inferior because you have no idea what they're talking about. Or you could feel left out. What did I miss? And this causes you insecurity.
This kind of insecurity is the number one reason why people quit whenever things become difficult. That's why I want to share my personal stories with you to build up your confidence. I've always been a late starter. When I was 5, all my friends went to preschool because that was the right thing to do. But my parents, both Chinese teachers, decided I needed a happy childhood more than preschool. So they decided I should stay home and do nothing. So I did nothing. And then on the day I went to primary school, the first day they took a quiz. I don't remember anymore how bad it was. I just remember it was really, really bad. I was bad at everything, especially math. And that didn't go away very fast. I think it was 2 years or so. I still remember my math teacher telling my father that I wasn't the brightest at school. And my father told me, remember this, you are just later than them. You are not worse than them. Wait until you all have the same stuff to learn. Only that day counts. From that day on, you'll be better than everyone else. And it turned out he was right. Ever since my 3rd grade until today, I never had any problems with learning anymore. I was not just a straight A student later, I was the straight A student everywhere I went. And what's more, I loved math. It turns out I was really good at math. And this seems to be a pattern somehow, because later I started to learn English. And I learned English in the most conventional way you can think of. I started it when teachers started to teach English at school, and I only learned English at school. And at that time, most of my classmates already have learned some English before. So again, I belong to those who did less well.
But learning, especially learning a language, is a very honest thing. Either you can or you can't. If you can't understand something, you can't. You just need to learn. It's plain and simple. So I simply learned. And it didn't take long that I became the best at English in my class, and then at my school. And then I became better than the most English teachers there.
Now it's time to reveal the secret I promised you, how I turn things around each time. And I think the secret is, truly, I never really doubted myself. I never thought I would have problems with learning. And every time I didn't know something, I just thought I didn't know it and you knew it earlier than me. This means nothing to me. It doesn't mean that I'm less intelligent or anything. It just means you're earlier than I and I'm later than you.
And this was the foundation of my confidence. I consider knowledge, especially language capabilities, as something like driving a car or riding a bike. No need to attach more interpretation to that. The burden, shame, or pride. Would you be proud of being able to drive a car or ride a bike? I don't see much personal achievements in that. I am a bad driver, and I'm not ashamed of it. Nor am I proud that I can ride a bike, or I can swim, or I can cook. All these things don't prove my value. These are just things that you can learn or not. They don't prove your quality as a person. Some people can do this, some people can do something else. If you consider learning Chinese or learning anything this way, I'm sure you will have much less confidence issue if you untie yourself to these interpretations.
When I started with German, the same thing happened to me again. It's like a déjà vu. Everybody else was better than me. They all learned some German before. Some of them even have lived in Germany before. But I sticked with the content and I had no emotional burden.
It only took me a couple of months to become fluent in German. Today, German has become my second native language to me. When I learned Japanese, this happened again. I'm not saying all this to show you how smart I am. On the contrary, I really think anyone can learn anything if you simply focus on learning itself.
So for me personally, learning Chinese, like learning any other languages, is just like learning how to use a tool. Focusing on single elements will bring you a lot more than treating it like a science. Because eventually, you will get there. I see this as a perfect chance to set up some ground rules for this channel. I want to bring up 2 ground rules that I learned from a past working experience. I used to be a corporate manager who brought decision makers together from different industries. And no matter how important and how smart you are in your own industry, you always needed to follow these 2 rules.
Rule number 1. No acronyms or abbreviations. What are acronyms? If you put initial words from many words together, and it becomes a new word, such as NATO or EU. What are abbreviations? Short terms of words such as street, avenues, PhD. Rule number 2. Avoid unnecessary terminologies such as acronyms and abbreviations. If it's impossible to avoid them, you must explain instantly as easily as possible. This gives people room to interact and connect with this word and with you. If you simply drop a word that most people don't understand, they can't react to you. And insisting that people should know it would just make it worse. So basically, the general idea is use a language that most people understand. Make it as simple as possible.
With that being said, that's all for today. So remember, together we can make Chinese easy.